What would happen if a poor girl walked into a royal palace and no one could stop her? She had nothing. No power, no name, no status. But the moment she spoke, the king froze. The entire court fell silent, and a secret, buried for years, was finally revealed. This isn't just a story about a poor girl. This is the moment truth destroyed power. The royal palace stood beneath the morning sun, glowing with gold and authority, its towering walls whispering stories of power, control, and unquestioned rule. Inside, nobles moved with pride, their footsteps echoing across marble floors, while servants kept their heads low, careful not to be seen or heard. At the center of it all sat a king whose word was law, and whose silence was feared just as much. Beyond those gates, where the shine of gold could not reach, lived a girl no one cared to notice. Her name was Elara. Her clothes were worn thin, her hands rough from survival, and her presence almost invisible to the world around her. Yet in her eyes lived something rare, something unbreakable. Not hope, not desperation, purpose. Every day, she stood near the palace gates, watching. Not with envy, not with longing, but with a quiet determination that no one understood. The guards mocked her, as they always did. "Go away," they would say. "This is no place for someone like you." But she never argued, never begged, never left in anger. She simply waited. And then, one day, everything changed. The palace gates were opened wider than usual. Messengers rushed in and out, their faces tense. Something was wrong. Or perhaps something important was about to happen. A royal challenge had been announced across the kingdom. The king was searching for an answer one no scholar, no advisor, no noble had been able to give. The question sounded simple, but it had defeated the greatest minds. What makes a kingdom strong? Forever answers had come in waves. Gold, power, armies, knowledge. But the king had rejected them all. And now, the entire kingdom waited. Elara heard the question, and for the first time, she stepped forward. The guards moved quickly, blocking her path with laughter already forming on their lips. "You again," one of them said. "Haven't you learned your place?" "I need to see the king," Elara replied. They laughed harder, this time. "You see the king. Look at yourself." But she didn't move. Her voice didn't tremble. "I know the answer." Something in her tone made them pause. Moments later, something no one could have imagined happened. A poor girl walked into the royal palace. Whispers followed her like shadows. Who is she? How did she get in? This must be a mistake. But Elara kept walking, her heart beat loud in her chest, her steps steady against the polished floor. At the end of the grand hall, beneath a ceiling painted with legends, sat the king. Powerful, untouchable. His eyes narrowed as she approached. "Who are you?" he asked. "Elara," she said softly, "and I have the answer you seek." A ripple moved through the court. The king leaned forward slightly, studying her. "Do you understand the question?" he asked. "Yes," she replied, "and I understand why no one else could answer it." The room fell still. "Then speak," the king commanded. Elara took a breath. "What makes a kingdom strong forever is trust." The word hung in the air, unexpected and almost fragile. The king's expression did not change. "Explain." "Explain." Elara stepped closer, her voice calm but unshakable. "A kingdom is not strong because of gold, because gold can be stolen. Not because of armies, because armies can fall. Not because of power, because power fades." She lifted her eyes to meet his. "A kingdom is strong when its people trust their ruler, and when the ruler is not afraid of the truth." The tension filled the room, thick and undeniable. "But trust," she continued quietly, "cannot survive where fear controls silence." The word struck deeper than anyone expected. The nobles shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away, others frowned. The king's gaze sharpened. "Are you accusing me of ruling through fear?" he asked, his voice colder now. Alara did not step back. "I'm asking you to see what your people feel." A noble stepped forward, anger flashing across his face. "This is nonsense. She's nothing but..." "Enough," the king said sharply. Silence returned at once. His eyes never left Alara. "Why should I believe you?" he asked. The question echoed through the hall. Alara inhaled slowly, as if gathering every truth she had carried for years. "Because I am one of them." The simplicity of her answer changed everything. For the first time, the king did not see a poor girl standing before him. He saw her voice. Unfiltered, honest, unafraid. "Then speak." His sight again, but this time, his voice was quieter. And so she did. She spoke of empty homes and hungry families, of fields that no longer gave crops, of taxes that crushed hope instead of supporting life. She spoke of voices that tried to rise, but were silenced long before they could reach the throne. She spoke not with anger, but with truth, and that made it impossible to ignore. The court, once filled with pride, now felt heavy with something else. Reality. The king listened, truly listened, and for the first time in years, the silence in the room was not fear. It was reflection. He slowly stood, his presence filling the hall once more, but something had changed in his eyes. "I asked for truth," he said, his voice steady. "And today, I have heard it." No one moved. No one spoke. "From this moment forward, this kingdom will change." The words carried weight. Wait, taxes will be lowered. A murmur spread. The voices of the people will be heard. Hope began to rise, and anyone who hides the truth from this throne will answer for it. The court stood frozen, caught between fear and something new, something unfamiliar. Relief. Then the king turned back to Alara. "And you?" The room held its breath. "You will stay." Alara blinked, unsure she had heard correctly. "Stay, Your Majesty." "Yes," he said. "Not as a servant, not as a guest." He paused. "But as someone this kingdom clearly needs. An advisor, a girl who once stood outside the gates, unwanted, unseen, unheard, now stood beside the throne, not because she was powerful, but because she was brave enough to speak when everyone else stayed silent. And from that day forward, the kingdom did not just grow stronger. It became something far more powerful than gold or armies could ever make it. It became kust. If this story moved you, take a moment to like this video. Tell me in the comments, what would you have done if you were in her place? And if you believe that one voice can truly change everything. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes, the smallest voice carries the greatest truth.